Have you ever experienced the emotional whiplash of a man who pursued you with an intensity that felt undeniable? He saw you. He truly saw you. The connection was deep. The conversations were profound. The future felt possible. And then, silence. A sudden, inexplicable retreat. He pulls away, leaving you in a vacuum of confusion and a pain so sharp it feels like a personal indictment. You replay every moment, every word, asking the agonizing question, what did I do wrong? What if I told you that you did nothing wrong? What if I told you his retreat was not a sign of his disinterest, but the most profound, unconscious compliment he could possibly give you? The common answers you've heard, that you were too much, too intense, or too intimidating, are not only wrong, they are the very opposite of the truth. His withdrawal isn't because he lost interest. It's because the interest became so significant, so real, that it activated a primal, evolutionary alarm system within him. Today, we will unravel the true psychology of why a man pulls away from the woman he secretly, deeply wants. We will dissect the 4 ancestral fears his withdrawal signals about himself. And the 4th fear is the hidden key that explains why even the most secure, well-intentioned men on this planet can and do pull away. Stay with me, because what you are about to learn will not just liberate you from the cycle of self-blame, it will fundamentally change the way you perceive your own power in the dance of human connection. There is a pervasive myth woven into the fabric of our culture by Hollywood scripts and romance novels. It's a story we've all been sold. If a man really wants you, he will move heaven and earth. He will cross oceans. He will never hesitate, never doubt, never falter. And so, when a man does hesitate, when he takes that step back, your mind immediately concludes, he must not really want me. You feel the sting of not being worth the effort. I need you to understand this. That narrative is a dangerous oversimplification. It may apply to the impulsive passions of youth, but it fails to capture the complex psyche of a mature man who is not just seeking a thrill, but is subconsciously evaluating a life partner. What the pioneering evolutionary psychologist David Buss revealed after studying thousands of men and women across dozens of cultures is that the selection of a long-term mate for a man is not a simple chase. It is a high-stakes calculation of risk and investment. When he pulls back, it is not a sign of a lack of desire. It is a sign that the perceived cost of the investment, emotionally, socially, in terms of his own life's trajectory, has suddenly been calculated as terrifyingly high. His subconscious mind is not asking, do I want her? It is asking, can I afford her? Can I rise to the occasion of who she is? Am I capable of building and sustaining a world that is worthy of her? So if you have ever sat in the silence, blaming your brilliance, your success, or the depth of your heart for scaring a man away, let that burden go, right now. Your presence did not push him away. Your presence forced him to confront his own limitations, his own ambitions, his own readiness. You became a mirror reflecting back to him the man he is versus the man he would need to become to stand beside you as an equal. You were the mirror. You were never the cause. To truly grasp this, we must go deeper into our shared evolutionary past. David Buss's work gives us a crucial concept: mate value. Mate value is in essence an individual's overall desirability on the mating market. It's a complex blend of physical health, intelligence, emotional stability, status, kindness, and vitality. Now, here is the paradox. When a man encounters a woman whose mate value he perceives as exceptionally high, a woman who is not just attractive, but whole, self-sufficient, and vibrant, his ancient hunter-gatherer brain doesn't just see opportunity. It screams danger, high risk. Why? Because of a cognitive bias hardwired into our brains called loss aversion. The pain of losing something valuable is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. For our ancestors, choosing a high-value mate and then failing, either by being unable to provide for her, protect her, or by losing her to a rival, was a catastrophic genetic failure. It was better to not try at all than to try and fail spectacularly. This ancient program is still running in the background today. Of course, it's no longer about providing furs and food. It manifests in modern questions he asks himself, often unconsciously. Am I emotionally mature enough to handle her depth? Is my career, my purpose, on a trajectory that aligns with her brilliance? Can I consistently be the man she deserves, not just on the first few dates, but for years to come? Can I keep the flame of desire alive with a woman so multifaceted and complete on her own? This is where his retreat begins. The fear of failing with you becomes momentarily greater than the desire to conquer you. The renowned therapist Esther Perel adds another layer to this. She teaches us that desire requires space, a gap to cross. Unconsciously, his step back can be a desperate, clumsy attempt to preserve the mystery and admiration he feels for you. He fears that getting too close too fast might diminish the very magic that captivated him. So, let's translate the biology into emotion. His silence is not an empty void. It is a space filled with a storm of internal questions. It's not screaming, "I don't care." It's often whispering, "She's magnificent. God, I hope I'm enough for her in the long run." The awakening. Recognizing the pattern. You start to notice it. A strange and recurring pattern in your life. The more you work on yourself, the more you heal, the more you become self-sufficient, financially secure, emotionally regulated, and at peace in your own skin, the more frequently you encounter this dynamic. Intense, profound admiration, followed by a cautious, confusing retreat. This is not a curse. This is a confirmation of your growth. You have graduated. You are no longer a low-risk option. You have become a life-level investment. And this, by its very nature, filters out men who are seeking the path of least resistance. You attract a different level of scrutiny, not because you are flawed, but because you are valuable. And the very first spark of real, unshakable power ignites within you the moment you stop personalizing his retreat. You observe his behavior with a kind of compassionate curiosity instead of heart-wrenching personal anxiety. 2. The resistance. The fear of your own power. But right as this new awareness dawns, an old fear rises to meet it. A voice inside you whispers, "Maybe I should be less assertive, less successful. Maybe I should pretend to need more help. Should I dim my light so as not to scare them away?" This is your biology's natural resistance to change. As attachment theorist Sue Johnson points out, our brains are wired for secure connection. When he pulls away, it activates a primal fear of abandonment. to your limbic system, his distance can feel like a life or death threat. This inner conflict is proof that you are on the cusp of a profound transformation. Your ancient biology, which craves certainty and safety, is fighting against your newly awakened consciousness. Your brain may release cortisol, urging you to engage in old patterns of chasing, pleasing, or seeking validation to fix the situation. But the new you? She knows better. The integration, the practice of sovereign presence. This is the moment of surrender. Not surrender to him, but surrender to the truth. You have an internal turning point where you finally, deeply accept his job is to resolve his own ambivalence. My job is to continue being the magnificent, whole woman he was drawn to in the first place. This is when you begin to embody what I call sovereign presence. Neuroscientist Helen Fisher mapped the brain circuits of romantic love, which are tied to dopamine, the chemical of craving and obsession. But integration happens when you consciously activate the circuits of deep attachment linked to oxytocin and calm, and direct them inward towards yourself first. You become your own anchor. A new behavior emerges not as a strategy, but as a natural consequence. You don't play games. You don't give him the cold shoulder. You simply continue living your full, rich, beautiful life. Your happiness is not on hold waiting for his text. Your plans are not contingent on his approval. This creates an energy of what I call warm indifference. You are open, but not needy. You are warm, but not waiting. And to the man who pulled away, this energy is utterly magnetic. Your lack of anxiety creates a powerful, compelling vacuum. It silently invites him to step forward and prove his worth if and when he is ready and able. And this leads to the final, most profound transformation. The woman who has integrated this truth no longer operates from a place of seeking validation. She operates from an internal center of gravity. She becomes the orbital center of her own universe. This fundamentally subverts the social script that teaches women to be reactive, to adapt, to make themselves smaller to fit into a man's world. She is not reactive. She is proactive in the creation of her own life, which makes her both an evolutionary prize and an exhilarating challenge. You have reversed the polarity of the entire dynamic. What looked like rejection was, in fact, the highest form of evolutionary respect. What felt like abandonment was, in fact, an invitation to a deeper self-sovereignty. You are no longer being interviewed for the role of his partner. You have become the CEO of the selection process. It is now the man who must submit his resume, demonstrating his readiness to meet you at your level. You become the mountain, magnificent, solid, unmoving. A man can admire you from the valley, but if he wishes to experience the view from your summit, he must undertake the climb. He must check his gear, train his spirit, and find his courage. His retreat was never about you. It was always about him, standing at the base of the mountain, wondering if he had what it takes to ascend. By holding your center with this quiet, sovereign presence, you create what psychologist Arthur Aaron found to be the essential condition for true intimacy, a safe space for vulnerability. Your calm allows him to face his own fears, and if he is the right man, to step forward, not with bravado, but with an authentic, open heart. When you embody this truth, your entire reality reorganizes itself. Here are the signs that you have truly mastered this psychology. First, a man pulling away ceases to be a traumatic event, it becomes useful information. Your internal monologue shifts from "what's wrong with me" to interesting, he's not ready, that's good to know, and you move on, without the emotional residue. Second, the feedback from your world changes. People stop giving you unsolicited advice on how to get a man. Instead, they start asking you, how did you become so confident, so serene? Third, you begin to experience a feeling that cannot be faked, a potent, joyful solitude. It is not the resigned loneliness of waiting, but the powerful fullness of being complete within yourself. A partner becomes a wonderful desire, but no longer a driving need. And finally, you feel a silent kinship with other women who get it. You recognize them across a crowded room. There's a quiet nod of understanding, a shared energy. You are part of a silent sisterhood of women who have stopped competing for male validation and have started curating their own magnificent lives. This is the ultimate evolutionary legacy. You are embodying the highest principle of female selection, ensuring that the future, whether it be your children, your projects, or your ideas, is born from the meeting of two whole, powerful, and committed forces. You are no longer a participant in the game. You have become the landscape upon which the game is played. So I will leave you with one final question. What if that deep ache of confusion and rejection you once felt was never a sign that you were broken? What if it was an ancestral calling echoing through generations, a sacred invitation to finally, fully, and unapologetically reclaim the sovereign power that was always yours? If something here today resonated with a truth you had forgotten, share which part in the comments below. Sometimes the greatest healing comes from the simple discovery that we are not alone on this path of awakening. And if you know a woman, a friend, a sister, a mother who is blaming herself right now, who needs to hear this, grant her this freedom. Share this with her. Because a woman who reclaims her power doesn't just heal herself, she creates a ripple that helps heal the world.